Welcome back to Retro Rebound. Today, we talk about the PlayStation 3 and why now is the best time here in 2021 to make your purchase. Now, you may be scratching your head. Why? Why would I buy a PS3 now? Well, let's rewind the clocks a little bit. Earlier this year, PlayStation tried to shut it all down. The PSN store on the PS3, the PS Vita, and the PSP, they wanted it all gone. When that happened, there was a ton of pushback, and eventually PlayStation responded and said, okay, we're going to keep the PS3 store open, we're going to keep the Vita store open, but we're still shutting down the PSP. So your head may go to the PSP being now a good time to buy for the console, but prices are really on the rise. Where you should be spending your money is here on the PS3, because when PlayStation announced we're shutting things down, everything went up in value, and it was that moment of regret where you went, I should have bought X, Y, and Z. But then when they announced, all right, we're keeping the store open, those digital prices were still an option for a lot of consumers, where then the retro market flattened quite a bit. So I'm going to be showing you some examples of purchases I've made, what prices go for. Do know all the prices that we're referring to in this video are going to be complete in box. So that's the manual, the inserts, the disc, the case, whatever else. It's not going to be sealed or brand new because those prices are always going to be much higher. And I personally don't collect sealed at all. So if you're interested in this type of content, you like more retro and nostalgia stuff, consider subscribing. You're more than welcome here, and we'd love to have you. But now, let's talk about why now is the best time to buy for the PlayStation 3. So back in the early 2010s, we went through a little bit of an HD collection phase where you'd get the likes of Splinter Cell HD, I think Prince of Persia got one, and then the best ones to collect, in my opinion, were the PlayStation 2 era trilogies that they then remastered, like Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper. We have two of them here right now. We have Jak and Daxter, which you can see I got for 25 bucks at a local game shop, which at the time of buying this was a very good price to get, because this was right when all the prices were spiking because of what PlayStation had announced. And so when I saw that, I went local right away, because they're not going to adjust their prices immediately. And I got this for about $25, as you can see, when it was going for $70 almost immediately. Now it's flattened back out. You can get it for about 25 bucks, and that is 100% the price that you should be paying for it. So if you're interested in that collection, now is the time. Do not wait until PlayStation, I believe, inevitably closes the storefront down again, and those prices are going to fly right back up through the roof. Now's the time. Pick this one up. It's great. I love Jak and Daxter. Really, 2 and 3 are my favorites. I don't like the first one. It's just kind of a 3D platformer. I like the light and dark stuff in 3 especially. So that always tickled my fancy. But what tickles my fancy more is Sly Cooper. This is my original copy. Bought it for $40 when it came out. That's how much these HD collections typically went for. This comes with Sly 1, 2, and 3 in HD. All the trophies. Each game has their own trophy list for both these games. So if that appeals to you at all, keep that in mind. But I adore Sly Cooper way more than I should for a series that's long dead. This one also went really high up because it's been so long since we've seen Sly Cooper, and there's really just a cult following for it now. But when it comes to Sly, this was about a $100 game when the PlayStation Store was closing down. Now it's down to $50, $60, so it's still a little bit more expensive, but I can guarantee once they inevitably shut things down, this is going to fly right up through the roof. It's going to be one of the first that goes up. Now, what's really surprising to me is how much the price of this game has fallen. This is also my original copy. This is Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. At the time, they included cross-buy with a lot of their PS3 games, so if you're like me and you were a Vita lover, you could get two versions of the game for one price. This is a $60 release, and it went, once again, just like everything else here that I'm going to show you, up the second that we saw the store shutting down. But then Thieves in Time fell right through the floor afterwards. After that surge had occurred and a lot of people were panic buying, it's back down to $20 now. You can get this for ridiculously cheap, and I think it's one of the best Sly Cooper games. It's in my top 3 out of the 4 that exist. I know it sounds silly, but there really isn't a bad Sly Cooper game, but a lot of people hate on what Sanzaru did. I thought it was really good. I know there were some interesting character twists that people were less of a fan of, but I really thought that Sly Thieves in Time was nice, and now that Sly is long dead, I enjoy this more than ever. So this is a great get right now at about $20 to $30. One that I did panic buy because I thought to myself, well, surely everything else in the collection space is going to go up, was God of War Saga. So we can pop this open And you can see, like, for the PlayStation 3, this was pretty rare. This was a 2-disc game, though. But it came with the slip here that would have the codes on the back. Obviously, this has already been used. But it came with the Origins collection. And then you had God of War 1 and 2 on disc 1. And you had God of War 3 on disc 2. And now you can get God of War 3 on, like, PS4 and PS5. And the God of War series is pretty accessible, where I bought this with the mindset of, hey, this is the original version of the PS3 saga. They also had an HD collection for it. Like, they re-released God of War so many more times than you realize. But this was a whole collection of them where I thought, this seems like something that would go up because it's like the definitive way. It's on PS3. It's got everything. I think the reason that it hasn't flown up that much is because you do have the code there for the Origins collection. It's not physical. There's no way, as far as I remember, to get it physically, although it might be on the HD collection. My memory's a bit hazy on that. But anyway, this was $20. It's still about $20. It'll probably forever be $20. So that's one that I would recommend if you're interested in it. What I've also seen going up in value a lot are these old Beanox SpiderMan games. This one's got a cool story behind it because recently my girlfriend was moving to a new place and I was helping her out, and we found this in her parents' place because her dad's a huge Spider-Man fan. And so he was like, do you want it? I don't game. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. I love Shattered Dimensions. This game was fantastic. What's interesting, though, is because Insomniac foreseeably is going to have the Spider-Man license for a very, very long time, these older Spider-Man games from the PS3 360 era are flying up in value. So this is about $60 at this point in time. I got it for free. I got lucky. As you can see, it's a little bit gooky. I'm not a fan of all this up here. Whatever this action is needs to stop. I'd feel gross even touching it. I got to clean it off. But anyway, it was given to me for free, so I really shouldn't complain. But those are going up big time. Whether you're PS3 or 360, those are going up. Like, for example, Web of Shadows is more money on the 360. I think it's because of achievements. It's the best way to play it, all that stuff. But Shattered Dimensions is one of the very best Spider-Man games, in my opinion. I really liked how I played around with all the different versions of them. And it's one of Beanox's last hurrahs as a Spider-Man studio. And so those are going up. So consider picking those up. There are certain ones that have gone up and stayed up. That would be something like Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. I'm a huge Persona fan. I played the heck out of these games. I don't know why I have this pre-owned, because I bought like the new collector's edition that came with like the Teddy inflatable. It came with the tarot cards. I got it brand new on PS3. But I do remember I went through a phase where I traded in a lot of my stuff, and then I realized I want to have games that matter to me. And so I went back and bought it, and this must have been one of them. But yeah, as you can see, I got it for 20 bucks. This game now is like over $100 complete in box. And you can even see here, not the best copy. Like, this is folded in a little bit, but I'm not selling it. I'm not getting rid of it, and that's pretty easy to flatten out. But the Persona games are just home on PlayStation. And I would say, depending on how much cash you have to play with, this could be a worthwhile pickup, just because if it's $100 now, I always think to myself, what's it going to be in 5 years? But you could also think the opposite way. I think when the store goes away and the price is spiking in, you'll see this go up even more. So when it's already sitting at like $90 to $100, maybe consider how long you want to wait. Last game I got here in the stack is Untold Legends Dark Kingdom. This was the first game I got for my PS3 way back when, and man, do I adore this game. I love the Untold Legends series. It's such a clean copy too. This was a launch game nonetheless. It found a lot of popularity on the PSP. That's where it was with Brotherhood of the Blade, and I forgot the other game. I think it was just Untold Legends. But these games were Diablo clones, effectively, and I loved Dark Kingdom. I wish they had trophies for it. That would be great. I would totally go back and play it. This I got for $5. It's $10 now. Just keep in mind launch era games, like those launch years where you had some more obscure titles coming out. I would mention a game like Folklore would be one you want to take a look at. That flew up to about $100 when the prices spiked for eBay. Now it's sitting at about $70, $80. You could probably sneak in a good bid right now because not everyone's looking for it, because no one's panicked right now. So as I said at the top of this video, I think now is more important than ever to start buying PS3 games. The market's settled. No one's panicking. They feel comfortable going out, making their digital purchases. The digital market exists where the retro market can't take a giant step forward and inflate prices where people shouldn't have been paying for them anyway. But I remember looking at the completed items listing on eBay. There were some people paying some really high prices. Don't become one of those folks who panic buys. Get ahead of the curve. If you got $100 to play with, you can get a bunch of these games very easily right now. So those are just being some of my suggestions. Those are some of my pickups in the last couple of months that I wanted to spotlight in this video. If you're interested in more retro nostalgia content, once again, I urge you consider subscribing, checking out some of our other content here. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, peace out.